Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. I am your girl, the tardy, Miss T with the T. 5, 6 minutes. I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought I had everything together over here, but I did not. Let me welcome everybody in. We do have our guest speaker backstage, so I'm just going to say hi to everybody real quick. Welcome in, Jay Jordan. Thank you for sharing it out. I appreciate you. Welcome in, Jigs. We got Chocolate Drop. I will be over there next Wednesday. Kicking it with Alvin. How you doing? We also got Kenneth. We got 7 people up in here already. Thank you so much. We have Drell in here. Good to see you again. Good morning, Laura. How you doing? Let me see. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. I apologize for being late. I don't, Miss K. Renee, how you doing? I don't really want to keep my guests back here waiting behind the scenes too long. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you guys Miss Katrina Simmons of Gifted Minds LLC.
Hi.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you?
Book busy and blessed.
I can understand that fully.
Okay. Oh, so thank you so much for coming. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the invitation. I love doing these type of interviews with different people, different audiences. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Welcome in, CC, all the way from Texas. So if you don't mind, could you tell everybody a brief rundown of Gifted Minds LLC?
Absolutely. So as you said, my name is Katrina Simmons, and I am a legal business consultant and growth strategist. So what I always tell people that means is I do all things legal in your business. Everything from the idea concept stage of a business. So that means the business planning, strategy, really deciding if it's a real and viable business, moving forward into establishing it as a legal entity. So, doing all of your state, local, and federal filings, making sure that you have the proper licensures, insurances in place, tax structures, and then I do another big section is contracts. So I do a lot of contract negotiation, development, and review, revise those as well. I do intellectual property education. So I help to get your IP rights secured. So copyrights, trademarks. And then as your business grows, I grow with you. So that means everything from profit planning to business restructuring and moving forward into making sure that you're ready to be franchised and develop into a franchise. So in a nutshell, that's Gifted Minds.
That's awesome. Oh, first of all, I want to say hi to everybody on Instagram. We got 3 people over there. So the reason why I asked you to come on because a lot of us here are content creators, and we get lots of well, we're in the process of getting contracts, some more than others. So like, do you help like with? So I feel that we are a brand, a business. Do you help
Most
us
definitely.
with our like contracts and all that kind of stuff that we may have in the YouTube world?
I do actually. And so I help with every industry. There's not an industry I don't work in. Another facet of my business that is like another part time job, I manage the legal department of a beer hops company. So that tells you how expansive my background is. But that's a Fortune 500 international company that I negotiate contracts for with Heineken and Anheuser-Busch. So that's the level of contract that I bring back to small businesses as well. So that just wanted to give you that type of knowledge to know where my experiences come from. So when it comes to content creation, that is huge to have IP protections in place. So that means everything from your name to the videos that you're putting out to any type of information that you are sharing as either an expert or advice, making sure that you have the proper disclaimers and things of that nature in place, copywriting your materials, making sure that your logos are trademarked. So there's several things that you need before you even get into publicizing yourself per se. And then as you enter into the contract stage, having those things locked in, now you can negotiate on a solid ground, knowing that your IP won't be taken, and you will be taken more seriously as a content creator because you have these measures in place to expand your brand.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, I am so happy that you are here. Um, Now a couple people have told me like my name, Miss T with the T, I should L-
Trademark it.
yeah, trademark it. Can you tell us like what's the meaning of the LLC?
Yeah, so a LLC is a legal formation. It's an entity. So as you are filing for a business and you're getting set up to separate your business from your personal, even if it is you still need to set it up with your state government so it is structured properly and you get the best thing is called tax exemptions for it. So having an LLC, which is broken down as a limited liability company, that means it takes liability from you as a person to be sued and puts it on this business entity to be sued if that was the case.
Okay.
So any assets brought into the business are the assets of the business and not necessarily you.
Right.
So if you look at companies, major brands and major companies or people, a lot of times they'll be like, the person itself is broke, but the company has the money. That's the rich mentality of how you maintain wealth because you don't own anything, but your company owns what needs to be owned. So if you are setting up and you are being paid and it's not a hustle, this is something you're actually turning into revenue. I usually say if you're making anything over around about the $12,000 mark, because that's when you really need to start counting it for real revenue on your tax returns, then you need to set that up as a business. People will ask me what's the difference between a sole proprietor, an LLC, and incorporation status. It really depends on the structure and what you're doing in the business. Are there partners involved? Is it a nonprofit? Things of that nature. I usually pull people away from the sole proprietor side because, again, you don't get any protections from that. That is you. You are the business. So that means if they come after you, they're coming after all of your personal assets. So having that business protection in place that prevents that from being able to happen. So that is imperative to have that set up. And as you're moving forward, again, it gives you credibility at the end of the day. So that's separate from doing the IP protections. And a lot of times people will start as a sole proprietor, but you still need to reserve your IP and preserve your IP because people will steal your stuff. So even if you aren't set up already as a business or you haven't started generating revenue per se, and you're like, oh, well, I don't want to set it up yet because it's going to cost me money, still consider protecting your IP because you're putting it out there. And if you see it as something besides a hustle or something that you anticipate you definitely can be making money from one day, you don't want somebody to be able to steal that from you. So go ahead and put protections around it, get your IP registered. Even if it's you as the holder of it, that's fine. But you can always transition that to your business later.
Yes, I'm in agreement with Cece. This is very great information.
Thank you, Cece.
Because like I'm not at the 12,000 mark yet, but at the same time, I still need to get some type of protection. Last year, I filed taxes, Miss T with the T, YouTube, and myself, and it was so hectic. It was like the most I made so far on YouTube, and I was just like, he was like asking me all this stuff, and I had to put everything together.
Yes.
Because I don't have an LLC or anything, so I was like, okay, I really need to do that.
What it is. So when you're filing your taxes, another thing to note. Now, I'm not a tax professional. I have done taxes for years, but I'm not an accountant or anything like that. So I always let people know that's my disclaimer. But I am a practicing tax professional from the past, and I still have some clients that I still work with on that side. So under the federal law, if you are a single member LLC, it still falls under one form of your tax return. So you don't have to file a separate return for your business unless you start going into being a S Corp or a C Corp under your LLC. That's when you start filing additional schedules and additional returns with your actual tax filing separate from your personal filing. But as a single member LLC, it still will remain in one tax return. And so it's still not a separation. However, you still want to calculate and keep those things separate because your business is still deemed a separate running operation as an LLC through your state and through getting financials done. So opening that bank account and having that set up, that's where it really matters because now you're establishing credit in your business and you're getting that financial footprint in your business set up, which is imperative to qualify for lending and sometimes for grants and things of that nature. So it all is connected, but when you're filing for certain federal things, it will be looped into the same thing sometimes. So it really just depends on what you're doing and how your business is structured in the beginning. And it can change. Of course, it's supposed to evolve. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different facets, but as you're a new one, as you're a new person, and until you grow to a certain level, you will file as one return for a while.
Okay. Yeah, I think like last year was the first time he was like, okay, so you bought a computer, so you did this. This is what from the company. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sweet Thumb said people will steal your business identity. Most times you won't know until the confusion has already started.
That is so true. And that happens all the time. And that is why I tell people don't put it out there until you know that you have it locked in and secure, because that's when you can come for, getting that back from those people. Now, copyrights come with automatic protection. So it's not necessary for you to register it per se, even though I tell people go ahead and register it. But it's smart to do that because it's harder to fight when you have problems with other people trying to prove who got it first. So that's something with copyrights. Trademarks are a lot different. So it's really who gets to the punch with filing of that application. If you beat out this other person, it's yours. So it really just depends on who is getting to the end of the line faster on that side.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate all this information. So, okay, before I even continue, if anybody has any questions, feel free, keep dropping them in. Welcome in, Miss Patty. So we're both located in Indiana. Do you offer your services outside of Indiana, like help somebody virtually?
I serve all 50 states. And actually, most of my clients are not even in Indiana. So I have clients out of New York, Tennessee, Cali, Texas, Georgia. I mean, you name it, Florida. It does not matter. And when it comes to like my contracts, I always cater my contracts to the states where it's hardest to get your contracts approved, and that's Cali and New York. So all of my other states fall under that. So I make sure they align. So you have high level Fortune 500 contracts when you come to work with me, because I make sure that doesn't matter what level of your business, it should be that way anyway. And you can negotiate with the big boys when it's like that. I always say Amazon and Macy's hate me because I'm that person that they don't expect for the little person to come in the door ready to negotiate with their attorneys. So it's imperative to make sure when you have somebody in your corner that understands your state laws, your local laws, and what is required for you to move forward in that business, because everything varies. Some states are a lot harder than others. Some are more costly than others. Indiana is one of the easiest places to get an LLC established or business established, one of the cheaper ones, versus, going to Tennessee or going to Texas or New York. There's different things required for each, especially if you plan to move to another state. Doesn't mean you have to close your business. It may mean you need to get a registered agent out of that location instead. So there's a lot of different laws that may apply, regulations that may apply. So it's very, very important to have somebody that understands that.
Okay. Well, Miss Cece, all the way in Texas, said, I love that you respect everybody's level of business. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So my question next to you is, I'm not a top tier content creator at the moment. I'm going to speak it into existence.
You got it right.
So at my level, what would you recommend? Should I go ahead and proceed with getting an LLC, or
I absolutely would. If you've generated any revenue, was last year your first year, or have you done this now a couple of times, generating you some revenue?
Uh, this will be my third year
It's
doing it.
definitely time then. So I usually say once you get to about year two, the end of year two, it is definitely time to start putting that into a real business, because now you've created that foundation. If you see this as something that you want to continue with, because sometimes people will come to me and they're like, "Oh, I'm doing this. I love to do it." Um, and I'm like, okay, great. So what's your future plan for it? Well, I don't know if I want to expand it. I don't know if I want to grow. Those are not my clients. I cut them off. I'm like, because this is not a hustle. Like, this is a business. So if you are not serious about making it into something with longevity, or even something you can sell, because I call myself the legacy legalizer. This is to build something for your legacy. So you want to make sure that it is set up properly so it has longevity past you. So you can sell it to somebody else, or you can have it prepared for your family in the future, but it has to have a vision for it. So I usually say at the end of year two, you should be prepared and ready to move forward to getting established legally and correctly, to start setting that footprint for yourself.
Okay. So we gotta say goodnight to Bayou. She wanted to come in and say hi. Uh,
Hi and good night.
I don't know if I
Thanks
should
for
say goodnight.
joining.
Let me see what we've got. Wellness with Frugal Mama. My favorite avatar, Miss Deborah Garrett. Picture me crafting. Stay hall. Thank you to the 25 people
They're
in.
awesome.
So yes, so we're talking to Katrina Simmons of Gifted Minds LLC. We are both based in Indianapolis, Indiana, but
We are.
she helps people all over the world. Um, so yeah, like I was saying, like my first year of filing taxes as a content creator, it was just pennies. It was just whatever. This
We're testing it out. So
yeah, this last year it got kind of got personal. He was just asking all kind of information, what all could I
yeah,
buy, invest in for the company, and then like I'm kind of scared to see what this next one is because like each year we got to elevate, we got to grow. So,
absolutely.
whew, so
But that's good. You're supposed to be. And if it doesn't bring you uncertainty or fear, it's not challenging you. It's not going to be real. You want it to be a challenge, and you want it to be real. And you're creating that foundation for yourself. And that's what you want. And I love the fact that you said, it's something that you saw it for the pennies, but you saw something bigger outside of it. That's what it is. And that's exactly what business is in general. Every morning I wake up, I never know what's going to happen. I was so organized when I managed law firms and worked in my law firms and stuff. It was so easy to manage my day. Now I can't tell you what a day is going to be. I can't tell you where I'm going. I don't know what's going on sometimes, but I make it look great. But
right,
but it's just, that's business. That's what being an entrepreneur is all about. It's not neat and in a bow. Like, everything is learning. I learn something new every day. I learn from my clients. I learn from people I just interact with, from things I watch and read. That's what entrepreneurship really is. It's the consistent amount of learning and figuring out what it is, and getting the proper people around you to guide you as well, because not everybody knows everything.
right.
And you have to be very discerning of who to follow and who to let guide you in your business.
Amen.
Doesn't matter what their title is sometimes too, because just because they may be a great accountant does not mean they understand how to formulate your business. Just because they may be a great attorney does not mean they know how to run your business or
Right.
how to structure your business, or how to, get certain things developed in your business for operations. So that is a question I usually get a lot from people, because I'm not a practicing attorney. I have a master's in legal administration and law. And so that means I can do everything but I always say, I take you to the fence and then I pass you off to one of my colleagues to do the so I don't litigate in the courtroom. I do everything else. And that helps to, one, keep your prices down and make me affordable to the smaller people. But it also helps me be able to guide attorneys in their practices and their businesses. They don't teach you that in law school. So I get the best of both worlds by working with both sides. and giving them clients as well for the people that may need to litigate something. So it's those type of instances that you get more your bang for your buck when you do have certain types of consultants that can assist you in certain areas.
Yeah, you hit it right on the money for me because I had people who helped me, and then I had people like, I don't think you
Yeah.
know what's best for me right now.
Yeah, you should be incredibly clear.
Right.
It shouldn't be something over talking in your head. It should be always affirming things that you may have thought you knew and have heard more than once. I always tell people fact check, fact check, fact check. I mean, if you don't believe something I'm saying, you can always go online and look for yourself, and you will probably find out that I was telling you the truth. But it's something that you've got to check for yourself. Don't just because somebody has a title and tells you to. Just because your banker is a good banker does not mean they know what your formation should be. So pay attention. Doesn't mean they know how to do your taxes or tell you who to go to do your taxes. An accountant is not always a bookkeeper, and they do not always know what the best direction is to go in that side. So you have to be discerning to know what type of person you need. Sometimes you'll find a person that has a team like me. So I have a team. When you come to me, you have a lot of people from having brand strategy and marketing to having a commercial photographer to having a media videographer and a cinematographer. Like I have somebody that does, my other partner does B2B negotiation and business. So goes in front of you to help you secure contracts with other businesses. I always say he does it at the table and I do it in the back. So, you know, you want to make sure that you can keep connected because it can be overwhelming too.
Okay. I think we have a question from Miss Stay Hall. She says, "Good morning, everyone. Miss Katrina, do you help obtain new contracts for businesses, or do you assist in managing contracts we already have?"
Look at that. That's what I kind of just answered. So,
Okay.
yes, Day, I actually do both of those. So, I negotiate contracts. I have several clients that will not make a move until they send it to me or discuss it with me. And I love, love, love that they trust me with that. And that really that makes my heart full that they are like, I'm not making a single move until Trina reads this or tells me that this needs to happen. Because otherwise they'll like, I've seen myself get into trouble and I don't want to be in trouble. And so that is huge. So I most certainly negotiate contracts. And then, as I said, I have a business partner on my other consulting side that we both do the negotiation and go in on behalf. So if you have, let's say, an industry that you're in, if you're maybe a caterer and you want to start getting in at hotels and getting commercial contracts, he would start contacting those people to set meetings and get in front of them at the table. We would negotiate that contract on your behalf.
Okay. We have another question here. Let me see. What made you get into law, says CC, and have you ever had family members that want to take advantage of that?
Woo! Family member. Well, I wouldn't say family members per se. It's more say friends, church members.
It's
But
always church.
yeah, like yeah. But okay, so law has actually always been my passion since probably I was like 5 or 6. My dream was to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader and an attorney. I
Really?
I ditched cheerleader part. Well, I was cheerleader in college, but I ditched that part. But law has always been part of my heart and something I've always wanted to do. And then my biggest dream and my inspiration was Johnny Cochran. And I always I wanted to work at the Cochran firm because I was born and raised in Tennessee. And so I watched that trial and I was always wanting to work at the Cochran firm in Memphis. And I was like, I love the way he moved. I wanted to do criminal law. And so it was always right there in my spirit. It never changed all those years. I had considered doing other types of law. I wanted to represent professional athletes. NFL players was one of my things, and I wanted to become an agent. And so I always say it's interesting how God gives you what you want. It just looks different because fast forward in my career, my life, I managed NFL concussion cases, and I also managed a criminal defense firm. So I've done both of what I've wanted to do. I've represented athletes, gotten them multi-million dollar settlements for things that are needed. Um, and that was so fulfilling. Absolutely loved what I did. That was what I did right before I retired at the end of 2019 and came out of the firm. And then working in criminal defense and doing murder cases was absolutely everything for me too. So God gave me literally everything I ever wanted. It just looked a little different. But I've pretty much worked in every area of law known to me. And I always say from personal injury to, like I said, criminal business, of course. And it's just been a part of me. So I had to be more discerning when it came to me putting more of my business experience and law side into my business and wanting to craft gifted minds around that, because people will come to you and say, can I ask you a quick question? And I have a whole thing about this that I've done to talk about the power of, can I ask you a quick question? Because in my field, it's never a quick question. Right. And it's never, can I ask you a quick question? Because what I do is answer questions. So I have to be discerning with everybody about how much value and how much I give to somebody prior to them, actually contracting my services, because it will definitely be misused, and getting started happened more times than I can say. But it's just all about knowing how to put boundaries in place. And I do have those now after being full time since the beginning of 2020. I definitely have strong boundaries in place. So it doesn't matter if it's something I'm volunteering my time to, or it's something that somebody wanted me to be a part of. I'm discerning on that. And I pay attention to see whom I can help, how much I can help, because at the end of the day, now I am the business. So I have to pay my bills. So if it's taking my time, then yes, they have to pay something for it. And I do barter, I trade, I do all that all the time. So like my hairstylist, I never pay for my hair because I do my whole business. My personal trainer, same way. So I do that all the time. So I'm like, I will barter all the time for that. I'm like, I don't have to pay for this stuff. So it's great. Okay. So it's all about, just being, like I said, discerning and having boundaries.
So again, I want to thank over the 30 people that are in here. Some might be in the bushes, and I totally agree, because like once I tell people I'm a content creator, oh, here we go with the questions. Well, yep. What exactly do you do? How do you? Number one question: how do you get paid?
That's what I was about to say. How do you get paid? How do you get into that to get paid? I want to know how to do that. Can you help me?
Okay, all the time. I'm like, oh Lord, I just want to give you
that's your consulting side. That's when you start teaching those courses.
Okay. Unbiased LLC said those church members are something else. They always hit you with that. God knew you would do it for the community. Like what?
Definitely, it definitely does. And I always say, I never imagined myself to own a business ever. If you would have told me this probably about 15 years ago, I would have laughed, because that was never my dream. And when God calls you to something, he calls you to it. He called me to every facet of Gifted Minds. It will be 10 years since I started Gifted Minds in January. And I am still floored by that, because I'm like, I would have never thought he put this calling on me at a time when I was going through everything in life that was wrong and the worst. And I remember sitting at a table, my kitchen table, talking to a dear friend of mine who was a therapist, and he was telling me he had just branched out on his own. And I've been telling him to do that for so long, and I was so proud of him. And I remember this crystal clear, because I'm sitting there and I remember hearing, like, it was just like a little bell on the end of my shoulder that said, I want you to do this with other people, to tell other people this and show them how to do this. And at that time I was like, yeah, right. I was like, I don't know anything about business. And like 2 years before that, I had helped my ex-husband, and I had started a private investigation and security company.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely knew zero. I didn't even know how to make a business plan. I didn't even know where you went to register a business. I had to teach myself all of that. I have no business background. All of my background is law. So everything that you hear is God driven. That's what I always say. It's God driven, education driven from God, because I didn't go to school for this. This was not what I was called to do. I was just here for law. And so when he tells you to do something, you follow it, from the name Gifted Minds all the way through to everything I do, the people I serve, how I structure it is strictly from what God has told me to do. And he's blessed it at every stance, from me becoming a full-time entrepreneur in this and being successful 15 times over. And I've transitioned it over the years, because I did start in the nonprofit realm with churches, because, and other faith-based, religious-based organizations. So I was doing 501c3s, grant writing, fundraising, donorship, all of that type of stuff with Gifted Minds. Not as much of the for-profit stuff, and not as much of the legal stuff at that time. And then I saw that God was sending me more people on the for-profit side and wanted me to put more of my legal expertise in it. So I did a pivot in 2018 when I decided to go full time into Gifted Minds.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are today. And so now I have a team that I just send people to. If you do need that other nonprofit side, I do all the legalese of it. But then when it comes to the sustainability and growing it and helping you maintain the things of donorship, I have other people now in place to do those things while I still do the legal part. So I always say it's God called. When God calls you to do something, you do it, you listen. And if he doesn't tell you to do something, don't do it, because I thought I had to go to school for this. And yeah, I made it through one semester. Second semester, I flunked it. I've never failed at anything a day in my life. And I was so upset. I was so upset. And I heard crystal clear again, I never told you to go to school in the first place. And after that, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm good. So I've listened and I've done what I was supposed to do. And that's where you see me today.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we do have 35 and above. We're rising and rising, and people coming in. Thank you so much, everybody. So on my channel, I do help a lot of channels to like grow and give them advice and things like that. And I tell everybody all the time, we are a brand. Welcome in, VOM. We are a brand, no matter if we have 500, 1,000 subs, 2,000 subs, 3,000 subs. So it's important to like protect your brand. So that's why we have Katrina Simmons of Gifted Minds LLC. So for the newer people coming in, did you want to give a brief rundown of like the importance of
protecting your brand?
Right.
Yes, absolutely. Welcome everybody that's just now seeing me. Hey. So it goes back into what I was saying, the legacy legalizer that I am. So if you are your brand, you, just like me, I'm my brand as well. You have to be very, very cognizant of several things. One is how you show up. And so before you start putting things out there, such as your name, we think about this a lot. So if you have that catchy name, you want to make sure that you have that secured. So securing your name requires a trademark. And the biggest question I get asked often is, what's the difference between a copyright and a trademark? And the easiest way for me to explain that to people is the tangible and the untangible. So a copyright, I always say, is tangible. Think about it like a book. Think about it like an album, things of that, things you can touch almost. Paintings, things of that nature, things you can almost touch. Mm-hmm. A trademark is more of an image. It can be a name. It is a logo design, things of that nature. So the intangible, the things that you can't necessarily touch, those are the differences. So when you have your business, a logo, your name, those are your trademarks. If you have a catchy phrase, that's a trademark. If you have a course, that's a trademark. Now, the content within that is the copyright. So that's the differences. So like this video is your copyright. The materials that you have is your copyright. So you want to make sure that you secure those things. The information on your website is your copyright. That's why at the bottom of everybody's website, it should say your copyright with the date. That's why you see those things. That's why it's so important. When you have a trademark, I always like to give the example of the Pillsbury Doughboy. You have the name Pillsbury, that's a trademark, but then you have the Doughboy itself, that's a separate trademark. So Starbucks is the same. You know, you have the lady with steam or whatever in the head, that's a trademark, and then the name is a trademark. Those are two separate marks. So that means they can be separated or put together. It's very tedious for trademarking because if you don't trademark appropriately, there's only certain ways you can use it, and in certain industries you can use it in. So you can have more than one trademark in different industries. Pandora bracelet and Pandora radio is always my best example. They are the same name, but they're in two different industries. So you have to pay attention to see, one, is your name taken in your industry already? What industry do you see yourself utilizing in the future, and see if the name is right there? Because if it's not, and you haven't started using it, you'll have a little time that you need to pay attention and watch it. Because if you know you're getting ready to use it in service, then it's time to go ahead and put it out and put it into that mark in that application. Because if you don't do that and you don't get your application in, somebody sees it and does it first, then now you got a problem because you can't get it, or you'll have to license it from that person. You want to be the first in line. Facebook Meta had this problem. When they wanted to change to Meta, they didn't check everything they needed to. Somebody else had already filed for Meta right before they did. So they had to purchase this from these two guys, I think it was, small business owner, for like millions of dollars. They won with the come up because they were already in line for this. Facebook put it out before they did the proper checks. So it's these things that you've got to pay attention to. Same includes when it is your own name. That's another question I get from people. Well, I want to trademark my own name, like Beyonce and other names of that nature. That's fine. That's fine to do that. However, you have to be using it currently in that industry. So Miss T with the T, yes, you can do that in your industry if nobody else has it in that industry. But if you want to go into that same industry and somebody already has that name marked, you cannot do it. And there's a difference between state trademarking and federal trademarking. State trademarking is not it. I always tell people it really means nothing to me. It really doesn't mean anything. It's a waste of like $10. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that federal trademark, because that covers all 50 states. States, not international. Each country is different. That's major. Countries are totally different. This is something that I am now getting more training on, working with the corporation that I work with for the international mark. So that is something I'll be able to trickle down to my clients soon as I get more skilled on it myself. But it's a lot. Like trademarks are far more tedious than copyrights. So copyrights are super simple, very easy for you to attain. And like I said, they're not required to keep that.
Okay. We got a couple questions here. Living Out Loud, the podcast, said, are you familiar with any grants for urban gardeners?
I'm not, but I do have a grant person that's on my team that I would be happy to share some info with. So at the end of the session, you can get my email or, any other connecting info and send me a message, and I can definitely get that to you.
Yeah, all her information is in the description down below.
There you go.
There's people that come after you just to see what they can get. It's just paper work to them. Okay. Thank you, Sweet Gum.
They're so right about that. They are so right about that, because there are people that can do that. And I always call those trolls the bad trolls, because people will just go on to look for things that they anticipate can be pretty hot, or they will grow, and they will go in there and file and take your mark. That's why you see people sending stuff all the time to buy this domain, because they'll buy the domains from people and then sell them at hundreds and thousands of dollars. because they know that that person needs that. So yeah, definitely.
Ambaya said she had a question up here. I don't see it. Let me see. I'm like scrolling and scrolling.
I
If you don't
love the interaction.
could you please put that? I don't see it. Does anybody else see it? Because I don't. I'm sorry. Love you. Uh, yeah, I don't see it. I don't. I sorry. I sorry. I don't see it. I scrolled all the way back up to the previous question. I
You
didn't
know,
see
she may have to put it back in there for us.
it. So again, thank everybody for coming. David Corey said, "Great information indeed."
Thank you.
If you want to ask anything more personal or anything, her email, I believe Instagram,
Yes.
and email, Instagram, and your website is down below.
Yes.
I'm trying to see if she's going to type it
And
again.
the website may not pull because it's being revamped. I'm adding some things to it. It officially relaunches back on January 1st. So it's got all my new content and courses and all that good stuff on it. So if it doesn't work, you can still get all of my info on all of my social media platforms.
Okay. Let me see. Unbiased said, how do you market your business? What website platforms do you use, Queen Katrina?
So I use all social media platforms minus TikTok currently because I just don't have the capacity to even think about it right now. I know everybody's like, oh, you need to get on TikTok. You need to do this. I'm like, no, unless my children do it for me, I have no plans of doing it myself. I will hire somebody to do that. So somebody wants to come and shoot me some quotes for TikTok management setup. Hey, I will take that because I don't want to do it. But I use all social media platforms. When I first got started, I went very, very strong on Facebook because I was crafting my audience, trying to see where I could get the most engagement. Then it grew into pulling some from Instagram. Then it pulled from LinkedIn. Now, a lot of my engagement has pivoted into more from Instagram, not Instagram, but LinkedIn. I have a lot more professionals coming to me. I made a lot of videos during 2020 and 2021 called my Sunday strategy session. So every Sunday I would take on a new legal business topic and I would do like a little mini live about it and post it. Those were fantastic. I keep all those out there so people have a lot of free info from me. I use Pinterest as well for a lot of my checklist and information like that. So I utilize all platforms at this point. I don't have to honestly market as strongly anymore, which is a blessing because I do have such a robust network. And I have so many referrals that come all the time. And that is such a blessing to be able to have that because when you build those networks and people are just sending people, that's awesome. I do a lot of personal networking also. So I love traveling. If I'm traveling, I try to find things where can go in that place to meet other professionals. So I'm always looking for those type of networks. I feel like I've almost networked out in Indy, but there are some times where I'll find certain things. I love being in rooms where I don't know everybody. So if there are events being hosted that is a diverse crowd, I'm there. If it is things that I know where I will get good engagement, I'm very strategic about where I place my energy and whom I place it around because it's got to make sense. And I have what I call my business bestie. She and we are forever plus one. So if she's in a room, I'm not. I know she's selling me, and it's vice versa. And that's the way we work with our team. My team is like that. You see one of us, you see all of us. So it's a blessing to be able to have other people selling for you, even if you're not in the room. So start with building a strong network and team of people that will sell for you without you having to focus so much on trying to just sell by yourself because it takes a village. It literally
village. I wanted to add on to that because social media is popping right now as far as like growing and networking. I'm working on where I want to put my energy because I like behind the scenes on Instagram, a little LinkedIn, and where else? I go? Facebook behind the scenes. I just started getting back on Facebook. That's where I get a lot of love besides YouTube, and then like TikTok, not so much, but whatever. But like I'm working on where to put my energy because like I'm not really that focused on TikTok anymore because like I don't get the engagement that I want.
So it just depends. What I learned is it depends on where your people are. So
Mhm,
you have to be crystal clear on who you're talking to.
mhm,
Because if you don't know who you're talking to and you're just talking to everybody, it's not going to work. So a way to make it work for you on any platform is to pay attention to whom you're talking to. So if you don't have a business plan, get one as soon as possible. I have those too. I have courses and all of that, but get you a business plan because you're going to have that section in there that's talking about who your customer is, who your client is. And it isn't always just one, it can be tiered. It can be, divided into certain categories. So you just pay attention to whom you're talking to. A big thing on Facebook that I did do was join a lot of groups where I knew I added value. So I would go in. I know I was in a holistic group. One of my friends added me to. I don't do anything holistic. I got 3 clients out of there because I'm talking contracts. I'm talking how to set up your business properly. I'm talking how to make sure you're operating correctly and with the right development and strategy. 3 clients out of that. So it really just says, how can I go add value and to whom do I want to add value to? Look at that. Know who you're talking to in your audience and what they're looking for. That's another thing. What are their needs? So ask them what their needs are. And especially you being a content creator, see what is hot. See what it is that engage your people. So if it is business related entrepreneurship, that's your crowd, go where those people are, those coaches, those consultants that are going to add value on your show. And that's how you're going to be able to get those people. So join those groups where those people are, offer them something, just like you did me. Because I was like, yeah, I love doing stuff like this. I absolutely love doing stuff like this. I've done quite a few over the years and I keep that and I keep it all posted and I get customers from that. And it works. It really does work that way.
all right. Yeah, I agree with Karen Sawyer. She said, yeah, she said it does take a village. You're absolutely right. I'm working on trying to get a little village started. There's a lot of like a lot of people be like, Miss T, you should do this, you should do that. I'm one person. There's no
Yeah.
village here at the current moment.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you can't do it all. You will
Yeah.
drive yourself crazy. I
So
was very, very blessed to start this whole journey and process of full-time entrepreneurship with a amazing partner who was both my business partner and he was my boyfriend partner at that time too, but he was my business partner. But he was my biggest foot in my behind and accountability that helped to get me prepared for this journey because he was already doing it. He'd been doing it for many years, had businesses, knew how to develop them. So he helped put me around the right people, the structure, what to do to make the transition. If I hadn't had that, I'd still be behind the grain. And I say that all the time because you have to get outside of yourself. I knew corporate, I knew law. I didn't know business. I didn't know how to run business or entrepreneurship on a full-time basis, what to do, where to go, who to talk to. Didn't know that. So I had to place myself around people that did. And that's what got me to the places I needed to be and to where I am now. So now I can help other people do the same and to grow that team. But team took a good solid 2.5 to almost 3 years to get done. Because if I hadn't have, then I would still be struggling to make it.
right, right. Yeah. I am now seeing the importance of having a village because like I do content, I do the live streams, I reach out to people to come on the show, go back and forth on emails and meet on their show and all that kind of stuff. And I have
It's
a
a lot.
daughter. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's an extra lot. Yeah. So I have 4 businesses, 3 children that are active incredibly, one in college, one in high school, plays varsity everything, and then an 8-year-old who's also in sports as well. And yeah, so I get it. And then, like I said, and I'm still a sister and a best friend and, all of the other stuff in between. So, and I'm on boards. So you name it, yeah. Everybody's like, how do you do it? I'm like, I couldn't tell you tomorrow how I do it, but it still happens.
Okay. Thank you, VOM, for the super chat. And then B Rufus Gaming. Let's see here. In business, which is more important, marketing, product, or services for the guest?
So that's a great question. Honestly, your marketing, because if you don't market and you don't invest in it, who are you going to give products and services to? Because you can have products and services till you're blue in the face, but if you don't have anybody to sell it to, what are you sell? What are you going to do? And that's another big one. So when I first started, I'm an overthinker. I wanted perfection. I wanted everything set up. So I wanted my website done to a T. I wanted all these price lists and courses and all this stuff done. And about that second month of full-time entrepreneurship, and I'm sitting there with my business partner, and he's like, so what are you doing to make money? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm getting everything ready to go. What are you doing to make money? And I was like, well, I've got to get things ready. You're not making any money. He's like, you're not making any money. And that was a reality check, because if I'm not making any money, how am I going to pay my bills? Like, it hadn't clicked, but I was frustrated. I'm like, I got to start all over. You want me to do all this? He had me inboxing people. I hated it. Cold inbox. I hated it. I mean, connecting with strangers. I hated it. Like, I hated every piece of it, but it worked. If I hadn't done it, again, I'd have no clients. I would have no nothing. It worked. So you have to market, invest in marketing, but smart marketing. Don't go out here paying for people to do stuff if they're not vetted, if they don't have reviews, if you don't know anything about them. They can talk all day, but they need a track record that is proven. So pay attention, but you do it yourself. I mean, start yourself. Like I said, if you're clear on who you're talking to and you add value to those people, it's so simple. I would scroll Facebook. I would even search on Facebook just by putting in contracts, and it will pull up all statuses that mention anything about a contract. I would read what that status said, even if that person wasn't a friend of mine. They may just be located in my network somewhere. And I would respond with an answer, with a question, with an answer to that question if it was a question. Same with trademarks. If somebody had a new logo, I'd say, oh, this is so nice. Make sure you get it trademarked. All of those, there was never a time that somebody didn't like that I said that. There was never a time that somebody wasn't appreciative that I stepped into the circle to say, hey, have you thought about this? So do those small things, and it doesn't take long. I mean, we stay scrolling anyway. So these are the simplest ways for you to build your stuff, and doing it in a way that isn't uncomfortable to you. You have to make the uncomfortable comfortable. So that's what I had to do for myself. Like I said, I don't always like talking to strangers. So I had to make the uncomfortable comfortable. For me, it was adding value under people's posts to let them know, hey, I can potentially help you if you are looking for it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that. I want to say thank you to you, Learn with Robert. Now, I may have lied a little bit earlier. I don't have a village, but for the people who are in here, most of the people know I hate technology. But YouTube, social media is all technology. So
yes,
Robert is one of the people behind the scenes that helps me. Like, I don't get upset too often, but when somebody's like, Miss T, you need to do this to better your StreamYard or whatever, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm kicking and screaming, but he's always been back there like, Miss T, you got this. You got this.
I love that. You need those people. You need those people. Like my videos and stuff, I go to the same person. He's on my team. Amazing. I don't let anybody else video me because one, they can't hit that standard. But I mean, it's just one of those things that when you have those people, I love going to people. I don't have to tell them what I need. They tell me what I need, because I'm so used to always having to tell people what to do for the most part. I love having people around me to tell me what I need to do. And that's imperative, because I don't want to always have to think about what it is. I don't know everything. So what is it that you see that I need? And both of my business partners are like that. They'll tell me what I need, things I wouldn't even thought about.
Right.
And I can get so much more done because I'm like, shoot, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm like, this is great. I don't have to do as much. And it still gets my traction and it still makes me show up professionally. I'm establishing my brand reputation by this. And it keeps me on target. And you have that protection and you have again, you have that team.
Right. Thank you, Trish the Natural. Yeah, thank you. I've been trying to like reach out to people who can like help all of us in some
Absolutely.
type of way. And I thank you again, Miss Katrina Simmons, for coming in. Thank
You're
you.
so welcome.
Yes. Thank you, Alan, for keeping everything in check back here in the comments. Big Rufus said, in business, who have you found to be more accepting, family, friends, or total strangers?
Total strangers, my family, I still don't think they fully know what I do. My friends, not all of them know what I do either. So definitely total strangers are your biggest people that are going to be your cheerleaders. Because when I first transitioned full time into business,
Mm-hmm.
I waited a bit before I told my mom. And when I told her, she was like, so what are you going so how are you going to make money? What are you going to do?
I get that
And
a lot.
I said, I'm going to work for myself. I'm going to run the business.
You sound like my auntie.
And it was so funny to me because she was like, so when are you going to get a job? And it took her a while. Now she understands. Now she gets it. But it did take a while. My sister too. She didn't get it either at first. Like she was like, I hope you know what you're doing because you got to pay bills. I'm like, I'll be good. I'll be good. So those aren't your clients. Those are not your clients. Don't make them your clients. Don't even try to make them your clients. Don't even try. I only give my feedback or my information to my family members and my friends if I really see that they need the help and that they could potentially use me. I'll toss it out there. But I have no thoughts about them becoming my clients because I know that they're probably not. They're probably not. And so, I mean, it's not something that it's just not a standard to set for yourself. You will be disappointed if you think that that's what's going to happen. It's not. Just be prepared. The strangers are the people that will build your business.
Mm. Karen Story said, please share more about inboxing people. It seems to be intrusive, an intrusion. Sorry.
Yeah.
How well received were people, namely corporate prospects?
So don't be salesy and don't be those people that don't pay attention to profiles. So LinkedIn has gotten very spammy over the years, and I hate that because it used to be very good. But since 2020, it has now become very spammy. And it sucks, but it's smart to pay attention to people's profiles. So do your research before you inbox people. Pay attention to see one, what they do, and two, how you can add value to them. So if you see a place where they could use your services and you would be of benefit, or you see a need that they have expressed, and go in answering that need. Go in stating that, hey, I saw that you had posted about this. Just wanted to let you know I could potentially help you, something like that. But answer a need, because that's how I always did it and still do. If I see that somebody posts about something that I know I have an answer to it, then I will go under that post and respond, or I may send them a private message and say, hey, I saw this message. Just wanted to let you know this may be something I could help you with if you're interested. Just something like that.
That's
does
exactly
not
how
have
to
to
do
be,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, does not have to be salesy at all. But pay attention to those things. Sometimes people just don't respond because they do get so many spammy messages. Some people may not be ready for you. I have people that I may have talked to last year, the year before. I love the fact they always come back around. 2 of those happened this year. And I was like, oh, this is great. But now they've expanded. Now I get to sell them at a higher ticket. And that's fantastic because I'm like, now you're at a better place to pay me more money. So I'm like, hey, now you're about to be a retainer client. So you want me around all the time. So, it's that good thing of watching these people grow, because it's not like they may not need you at that second, but they may need you soon and you're still in the back of their mind. So put those ticklers out there.
Great answer. Great answer. Welcome in Jewelry Spot. And Stay Hall said there is so much growth, change, success outside of the comfort zone. Yes.
Absolutely.
I always encourage people, try to step outside that comfort zone. You don't want to just stay in that one spot.
Absolutely. I would, like I said, I wouldn't be where I am if I did not do that.
Right. And it doesn't even have to be like large steps.
Oh no, baby steps, definitely baby steps, because if you don't do that, then you won't be able to maintain that. If you give yourself a cultural shock almost, you won't be able to maintain it. So make it realistic for yourself. Like I said, little things. I had it set to where I would challenge myself to do like 5 inboxes a day. So I would wake up and I would, like I said, either I would do a search on Facebook, or I'd go into the groups that I'm in and look through the group post and see where I could add some value, when I could post and share some information, things like that. So just be strategic. Know how you're going to move. Oftentimes people just do things just to do them. There's no plan behind it. You still need a plan. So know what you're doing and how you're going to do it. And that takes out the chaos and the frustration, because now you'll know what works and what doesn't too.
Right. Being receptive to help is definitely important, and we attract our tribe.
We do.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to catch up on Sweet Thumb. He's strangers 100%. Support comes from the least expected places.
Absolutely.
Agree with that. Katrina, I always get the what is that you do again from family and close longtime friends. Too fun.
All the time. I have people that follow me. Had a message last night. This gentleman, he's been following me for a while. And he was like, so what is it you do again? I laughed. That's all I said. I said, now you've been following me all this time. You still don't know what I do. But as a woman and as a guy too, I know guys that are very attractive. If you look nice, people will follow you just because you look nice. People will contact you just because you look nice. So you have to, again, put up barriers and protections for those things. And I do that too, because I get a lot of those in my inbox trying to, hey, I just want to get a meet. Can I take you to lunch? That's another one. I don't do lunches unless you have bought a meeting time. Then we can have lunch if you'd like to do that. Because again, people will try to pick your brain and have lunch and pay for this little $10, $20 lunch, but they want this $300, $400, $500 worth of information from me. Mm-hmm. No. So the only time you get that is if you've retained me to get that. So if you just want to get a meeting with me and have lunch and you just want to stare at me, sure, but you're going to pay this $395 to do that. So what do you want to do here? Right. But you have to put those boundaries in place with people, because people will do that and they won't pay attention to what you do. So they'll be like, so what do you do again? So why did you follow me then? You just follow me because you just liked what you saw in a person versus what that person is actually doing and the value that they're bringing.
Yeah. Sweet Thumb also said, I learned real quick to talk to folks in line at the register and at gas pumps. I do that if I'm catching a good vibe and we're conversing. I'm like, oh, by the way, I do have this channel or something. I'll
yes. So that is one that my business partner again pushed me to do more of, because I was not that person, and I'm still cautious when it comes to stuff like that. I'm an introvert, and so when I go to networking things, I usually take a buffer with me. That's what I usually say. I take my buffer with me. And my buffer will be that person that is more outgoing than I am to go up and talk to strangers. And it just opens the door for me. So to all the other introverts, if you have problems with, doing that and getting those connections, take you a buffer if possible. But when I can't take me a buffer, what I usually do when I meet people is I pay attention to what they're saying. Sometimes I will tell people what I do off cuff if that's what type of environment I'm in. But then there are oftentimes when I meet people, I won't say anything about what I do. I'll let them talk and they'll talk. And then if it's something that I'm like, I'm familiar with this because this is what I do. Because then it goes into a whole stream of, oh my God, I'm so glad I met you, which is great. and they want to set a meeting and stuff. And that's great when they want to do that. But I also don't want to have this long drawn out conversation. You asking me all these questions either. So I'll pass a business card then if it's a situation, but I also don't always want to walk up to let people know automatically, hey, I'm Katrina, the legal business consultant.
Right.
So I'll pay attention to the people I'm around, because it can be literally, I'll be in the grocery store, or I know I was out for my birthday with my sister, and we were just sitting there having some drinks and whatnot. And the lady that owns the spot that we were at came up to us. She was chit chatting, and I was asking about the place and if she was the owner. And I didn't say anything at first about what I did and who I was. It was after she was talking about getting her licenses and the time it took. And I was like, yeah, I'm familiar because I'm a legal business consultant. And her eyes glowed. She was like, oh my God, I need you. But they were opening another facet to their business. And so that opened the door for me. So I would wait, I pay attention. So it really just depends on reading the people in the room sometimes. And then I wear my own shirts. So I've gotten that to my daughter's basketball and volleyball games. I wear my brand. So if I've had my shirt on, they'll be like, do you do that? Is this something you do? I'm like, yeah, I've gotten clients that way. So it's those simple things.
Yeah, yesterday I had on a new design shirt that I made, for my brand myself. And somebody on Instagram was like, I want that shirt. I was like, yes, sir. Let me give you the information.
Yeah, that's exactly. Like in 2021, I went on Etsy, and I found a lot of different shirts that were for lawyers and other legal professionals with little catchy phrases and things of that nature. Bought them and put all of my branding on the back. And I wear them all the time. So when I'm just out in the city or just wherever, and especially when I'm in the airports, that's a must. I always walk in with my brand. On anytime I'm traveling, I always have my brand on. And then when I go to my kids' games, I try to always wear my brand. So that way people know who I am and what I do. And it works. It definitely works.
Definitely works. It's starting to get cold here in Indiana. I need to start getting some hoodies.
Yeah, you need some hoodies now or jackets of that nature.
Socks in the Garden says inboxing like cold calling, but with emails.
Not necessarily, because you are still doing it's. I always usually say almost like a warm lead, because either that person is typically like a person that you're connected with in your network, unless you're in a group and it's a brand new person that you don't know, you're not connected with. But we all have thousands of friends and followers, and we're already have that warm touch. So you're just basically going in there to check out this person to see how they are. And then when you do that, then now you can go in and answer a question. The cold ones are usually the ones where you don't have any connection to at all. And you're still should be doing a little bit of research to see what they're doing and how you can still add that value.
Socks in the Garden says, I love meeting people at the nurseries. Her husband, Joey, usually has to pull her away because
Never. New friends.
Okay, meet friends. Socks in the Garden is so nice. She's so sweet.
I love that.
Yeah. So let's see. We still have 30 plus people in here. We're talking about just growing your brand, your business. A lot of us here are content creators, and believe it or not, we are a brand. So
yes, you are. Absolutely are your brand.
We're just talking about growing and everything like that. If you are wanting to get a hold of Katrina Simmons of Gifted Minds LLC, all her information is in the description. Let me see. Does anybody else have any other questions? Did you want to add anything else while we wait for some more questions to come in? Or
just to let everybody know, so I have been, I decided to do like a 12 days of business special for the holiday season. So since the first, I've been offering a special something every day. So it doesn't matter if it was a business plan course or a contracts course, or yesterday's was for all the legal that you need for your website to make sure your website's legal. So these are all good through the 12th, just to make sure that I can give you these nice, well discounted offers. So you are preparing yourself for the beginning of the year, because I always push people to do a legal audit of your business as you prepare for the beginning of the year. You want to make sure that you have your foundation set going into the new year. You want to make sure that not only your financials are right, but that you're also set up if you need to change your formation or if you need to legally set that LLC up. This is the time, because even if you wait until December 30th, well, I wouldn't say wait until that long because the feds close up. So try to get it before that last week of December. But if you get it set up, you can still claim for anything you've done all the rest of the year. So I always tell people, get it in as soon as possible so you can still claim that on your taxes. And I always say anything purchased from me is tax deductible. So making sure your business is set up right is an investment in your business, but it's also a tax write-off in your business. So get all you can. Gift your business a gift in the holiday season, because it's the gift that keeps on giving. You keep getting what you need from it. You get your revenue from it. It builds what you need to get to the next level if you want to expand. So just review all of your business operations, your contracts, and look to see where you're trying to go next and what is required for that level. And then you'll see what you need to do in order to get that set up properly so you go into 2024 correctly.
Okay. Well, let me read these real quick. Living Out Loud, the podcast, says what she got from this conversation is make sure that my videos add value to the viewers. Thank you, Miss T and Katrina. This was great information. And then
Well, one more thing for that one I want to give to Living Out Loud. Another thing to note on your podcast is to make sure, and this goes with the website kit I was talking about, I offered yesterday. Make sure that you guys are always putting out a disclaimer when you have your affiliates. So when you're getting those ads and you're getting those affiliating partners, you are required or supposed to by law to have a disclaimer on your site somewhere to let them know that this is an affiliate. Right. So make sure that you have those listed on there, as well as your copyrights, of course. Make sure you have that listed on there as well. Those are two big things that I often notice a lot of people miss on their podcast. And that's imperative. So make sure you have those protections in place for yourself, because if you don't, they can have detriment on your business if you're trying to expand in the future.
Right. Or paid this sponsored, or yes, I see exactly. A lot of TikTok, this video is eligible for commission.
Yes.
Miss Shirley, the OG gardener. I love saying that. Being older, is there a different setup for setting up a business?
No, ma'am. It is all the same. I've set up businesses for old people, young people, kids. My daughter, she has 2 businesses. So it definitely does not matter your age, whatever age, industry, nothing. It is all the same.
Let me see. I think that's about it on the questions. No more questions? Let me see. Well, I do want to thank you again for taking the time to speak to all of us.
You are so welcome. It is no problem. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Let me see. I guess we're just about done. So it's looking like a wrap. Well, hey, Carol Girl Manager, how you doing? I hope everybody enjoyed this information. We will have other people on later on this week. Thank you for taking time out your day.
No problem. Thank you guys so much for joining in.
Didn't know notifying about affiliates was a legal thing.
It is.
Yeah, it is. When I got offers, like companies wanted to send me stuff for free to do the videos and stuff like that, I had to let you know, hey, this is and what did I put on there? Paid.
Yes.
Something like that. If they paid you or something like.
Yes, you have to give those disclaimers. Even my videos. All the videos that I do, I always give a disclaimer stating I'm not a practicing attorney. This is not an attorney-client relationship established, all of that type of stuff, because I'm giving advice and information. So it's just for educational purposes. So when you're giving certain types of information, you have to have certain disclaimers to make sure that people are aware and it protects you legally. Just like with anybody giving like any holistic or health related things, I've seen it, or I've developed it for people that are giving even tarot readings. I've had to create those type of disclaimers. So it really is important to know your industry if you are required to have certain disclaimers.
Mhm. Okay, let's see. Any more other questions? Welcome everybody straggling in towards the end now. We got Official J Mia, Carol the Girl Miniature. We still have 35 people in here. Let me see. We still have a little bit more time if we don't have any other questions. Okay, Official J Mia says she's in the bushes. Her little Christmas tree bushes. Well, like I said, all her information is down below. If you are wanting to check out her website, she said it's being revamped at the moment.
It is, but all of my professional information is all over my Facebook business page at Gifted Minds, my Instagram, same, LinkedIn, it's all there. So I have all of my professional business pages that have all the information on there as well.
Okay, Geeky Girls Jones said, I'll connect with the guest on Instagram. I missed most of this conversation. Yes, thank you for connecting.
Absolutely.
So if I do a video with a product, you have to say this video either, like from what I heard, is like either say it in the video or put it in the description.
That is correct.
Yeah, I learned that a while ago. Paid by response, yes. Let them
And
know.
you also have to make sure of what shows in the background on your videos too. That's another one. A lot of people, I know you probably see it sometimes on reality shows when they blur certain things or certain logos. They do that because it's not sponsored. And it's something typically that either they don't have a release for or they haven't paid for a license for. So you have to blur certain things out. So that's something to pay attention to if you are doing any type of podcast or things of that nature, because know what's in your background, know what you can and can't say, know what you can and can't actually advertise for. So it's very important, and you have to toe the line when it comes to podcasts. We've seen people that have got into huge trouble with that when it comes to giving out false information or letting people know or trying to defame people. It's a big one. So you've got to be careful about the people that come on that can affect your brand, and make sure you vet those people and the background of those people, what they're involved in. And you also want to make sure that you don't affect your brand by saying the wrong thing or, putting the wrong thing out there that is not accurate. So vet yourself and cover your butt. Exactly.
Before I started doing these interviews, I was doing a lot of clothing hauls, and a lot of the companies were like, we want a clear background, not too much in the back, because, everything's not sponsored, like you said. So, yeah, that makes
sense. Important.
Well, let me see. These lawyers are, what did I say, are eating good off of social media.
Oh, every day. Like it's always something every day. I see posts all the time. Like, see, I could have told them that. I'm like it's insane, but it is the truth. Like, you have to be careful what goes on social media, and you've got to be careful about what you say and how you portray yourself or talk about other people. Like, even my contracts with my clients, because nobody has perfect reviews. If you have perfect reviews, then something's wrong. Something is definitely wrong.
I've seen those where everything is just perfect. Oh, this is great.
Yeah, that's not reality. So I've definitely had people that are not happy. And the thing about it is, that's fine. You can say whatever you want about Gifted Minds and not be happy with the service. That's fine. That's normal. However, if you choose to try to defame or say anything that has extreme cause on my business, I have a special clause in all of my contracts. It's called a non-disparagement clause. See, not everybody knows about those. That says you cannot say certain things about my business for a period of so long, or you would have to pay me starting at $5,000. And if you do that and you put it out there, because I've had to send cease and desist to people, So be careful how you do things. If somebody, like I said, if you get bad service, that's what Yelp and Google reviews and, all the other reviews are for. The Facebook forum of public opinion is not that place, and it can definitely go bad for you if you do that. And I've seen it too many times of that happening. I've had to send several cease and desist on behalf of clients before for those type of things, because if that person starts losing clientele, reputation, yeah, they can definitely sue you and win. And now they have a paper trail because it is on social media. So be careful what you put out there and pay attention to how people do that against you as well.
I just don't. So I'll be telling y'all, read your contract when these companies read what they say. You know what I'm saying?
Read your contract so you know exactly what's in there.
And those perfect reviews may be paid. Oh, they are definitely paid. I'm like,
Oh,
there's nothing wrong with this product at
absolutely.
all.
Absolutely paid.
Okay, this is just the perfect product. Okay.
I always say, I think Walmart may have like 2 stars and everybody still goes to Walmart. Billionaire had once said, and it always stuck with me, you're not making it, you're not a good business, you're not a successful business until you have bad reviews. And that stuck with me. And I was like, you know what? That is very, very true. I was like, because definitely out of the hundreds plus people I've helped, I can probably count maybe 4 that weren't happy. So I'm like, so that's a good thing.
Let's see what I say. Okay, indeed. Well, I'm not going to hold you up too much longer. I got a couple little things I got to do back here behind the scenes.
I completely understand.
Yeah. So thank you very much for an hour and a half of your time. I really
No problem. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much again for allowing me to come on.
Oh yeah, no problem. I may reach out to you like further and see.
Absolutely.
Oh, before we do go, welcome in, G Mama Grows. So I know every state is different. What would be the first steps of starting an LLC?
Oh, yes. So to first start your very first business, and I have a free checklist about this too. It's on my Pinterest. So that lets you know. But the very first thing to do is, of course, one, check to see if your name is taken. That's number one off cuff.
Where would you go to check?
I usually say just do a general Google search because that lets you know everywhere where it could possibly be taken. I've had people start businesses in their state. They did not do a check. And then let's say maybe a couple of years later, they now want to trademark. They can't do it. Now you have to completely rebrand, or you got to cease and desist because somebody else already had it. Now you've been operating like this, but you can't anymore. Now you have to completely rebrand. So do a check, see if it's available. And if it is available, now go into your state, Secretary of State, and go ahead and register and read. Like I said, pay attention. One, see if there's any regulations locally that you need to follow. So if you need any type of licenses to operate, check to see that. If you need any type of permits, check into that. Once you get those answers checked, then go ahead and register with Secretary of State for the business. And depending on the state, it will tell you how easy it is and what is required to go through that registration process. Like I said, Indiana's super simple. You just pay the $99 and you can get it. Know what type of formation structure you want. So it can be the LLC. It can be an incorporation status. It can be an LLP. It just depends on what you're trying to do and what type of industry you're in for that business. And once you get those things set up, then you go get your EIN number from the feds. So you go and you make sure you have that set up with the IRS. That's a free thing. So you just go and register your EIN number for that LLC. And then you take all that information, you go to the bank and get you a business banking account opened with that information. And you register for Duns and Bradstreet, which starts your credit, your business foundation for your credit. So that gets you registered to start business credit. Now, it doesn't open for any type of business accounts. It just registers you to get started for that. And then you can start climbing the tiers in the business credit world. And that's a whole different ball game, but that's a different side of the world. But that at least gets you started on that. Once you get all those done, look to see about getting some business insurance. You can usually get it for cheap. It's pretty nominal depending on your industry and depending on what is required again for your business. So having a security company, I had to have a certain kind of insurance at a certain amount in order to obtain a license. So there were other things I had to do there. So make sure you get that insurance in place because insurance protects your business from being sued. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you still want to make sure it's done. Especially if you have a brick and mortar too. So if you have a shop or anything like that. But even if you don't, there are certain businesses that you still just want to make sure that you have some insurance in place. Okay. And then the final would be making sure you have any type of disclaimers, contracts, whatever needs to be put out there, release forms. If you're selling something, make sure you have the proper information for terms and conditions set up for refund policies and things of that nature. So that's usually the way that a business builder is what I call it works when I set up businesses for people. I follow each of those steps to getting their business established.
Okay, well, thank you again. I do time to time, I go on Google and I'll just type in Miss T with the TC, make sure it's just me that pops up and not somebody got my name. But I haven't seen anybody just yet, but I do want to protect my name. Because I don't want to change it. I work too hard.
Absolutely. And you've been around, like you said, you're going into year 3. Definitely go ahead and get that set up because that will secure you. You have a Google footprint. You already have that web footprint going, but you want to make sure that you keep that. See, she said she unbiased got hers for $15 a month. That's perfect. Okay. See, it's definitely not expensive to get that for the most part, depending on, like I said, your industry. Now, if you're going to the trucking industry or other things of that nature, you got to put some investment money in there. You've got to put more of a foundation up there. But some of these others, not necessarily. But one more thing on that side, too, if you have business partners, this is another big one. If you have more than you in this business, make sure you have a partnership agreement. I don't care if it's your mama, your auntie, your sister, anybody, your best friend, have a contract in place. I cannot push that anymore, but it is imperative before you take a dollar, have a contract in place between the two of you because I see it every day. It go bad. It doesn't matter who it's with or what it's about. Have a partnership agreement in place. Because that protects you both and it puts you both on all the information that needs to be on. But outside of that, it makes sure that if anything goes south, there are rules and regulations of how this thing will go.
Yes, because in 2024, I want to get an assistant for sure. So I need to figure out what exactly I need this person to do.
Yes, and you have a contractor agreement for that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, thank you for all this information, especially G Mama Girl said she enjoyed this as well.
Okay. Yep, you're exactly right. It's not personal, it's business.
Definitely have that contract in place. But thank you again so much for coming in.
You're so very welcome. It's been a pleasure.
You guys feel free to reach out to her. I know some people said they connected with her on Instagram. If you have any type of questions that you may have outside of here, feel free.
Absolutely. Shoot me an email. I think my Calendly link is on there as well. You get a free 15-minute call with me. We can chit chat and see if I can possibly help you in your business. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'm running promos all the way through to the 12th of December. And then I shut down until the second week of January. So I always say, if you want to get in where you can and get in on some deals because as of the second week of January, yesterday's price will not be today's price. Yeah. I change my prices at the end of every year, so it's time.
Let's see. Stay Hall said, now the content creation and influencers are so big. There are a lot of people out there offering fake contracts.
Yes, not every contract is a good contract. And pay attention, not every template is your template. So know what you need and how you need to get it.
Good to have someone who can look at those for you.
Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's some good information too, right there. We'll actually be speaking to her on Friday.
Oh, nice. I'll have to tune in and pay attention.
So thank everybody for coming in. You know your girl's hungry because It's
I
11
know.
o'clock.
She said it's time. It is so time. Thank you guys again. I appreciate it.
Oh, wow. Well, thank everybody for coming in. Once again, feel free to reach out to her. Tomorrow we'll be doing Community Connect. So everybody have a blessed, what is this? Look, sometimes I'll be like, what day is it?
I know, right? I said that this morning, so I get it. You have a good one as well.
Well, thank you. Everybody have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And once again, feel free to connect with Katrina Simmons of Gifted Minds